Hello everybody, and this is my story, Captured in a Psych Ward, Part 7. It's a two-part series, just be careful. You see, in the HDU, the HDU was in turmoil. You see, with Pete constantly walking around claiming he was the Messiah, and Patty Rowe saying he was the first president of the United States, and the mere fact he kept on saying that made Pete think Patty was crazy. And Big Ann was really stressed, mainly because this was the day of her tribunal, and it could mean that she is set free. And Brad got out of bed and went into the TV room and watched the morning news. And Susan got up after being in bed for 15 hours. You see, for her, things got a bit chaotic. And Pete was still hearing woozy, woozy, woozy over and over. And Ron got up out of bed and went into the coffee palace to have a cup of coffee and started to talk to the workers there. You see, the server is named Fran and the waitress is named Dan, short for Danielle. And Ron loved to talk about kinds of things he did last night, like waking up with Godzilla looking at him, a very ugly woman probably. But the main reason why he goes there, because his job is stressing enough and he can't cope with all the aspects of his job without his morning coffee. And Fran said, okay, was your night good last night? And Ron said, I was a bit pissed on Friday night and I was caught into work, which I wasn't expected. And Fran said, what happened? And Ron said, well, it turns out that Martin Kelly was under suicide watch, as well as Pete, giving the nurse a hard time. You see, that man lived in the same building as me. I was in the area when he was taken into custody, and I had no idea he was going to be put in the HDU. And what I hate, that Robert is 14 and he is in with these crazy people. No, I think it's weird. And one man says he is George Washington and wanted to meet Obama and needs medication to calm him down. I have no idea whether he really believes he is George Washington or not, but frankly, I don't care. And after finishing his coffee, he said thanks and tipped the staff, and then went to the hospital and clocked in and went into the HDU, and the nurses were saying that, where have you been? You see, we need you to get Martin Kelly ready for his hearing, and Anne can't wait for hers. And Ron said, how is Martin going? And the nurses said, well, he is still banging on the wall, and last night the nurse tried to calm him down with Valium. He snapped at her and threw a series of threats. I'm going to kill you! I'm going to bash you! Murder you! So she eventually said, fuck it, I am getting out of here. And Ron said that nurse, is she still here? And the nurse said, no, she is home. Why, did she do the wrong thing by running out? And Ron said, yeah. You see, nighttime is the worst time to be in a place like this. And if she can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. And then Ron said, you see, if she can't handle it, I think she should have her job in the HDU at night reviewed, because Martin Kelly needs to be settled down, and it is putting patients and nurses and him in danger. So just think about it, okay? And now then, Ron went into the HDU to do his rounds, and he saw Anne, and she said, am I getting out today? I have been ringing my family and they are looking forward to it. And Ron said, how about we give you a brain scan to see if there is any sign that your brain is malfunctioning, like Patty, who happened to be walking around at present preaching George Washington's initial speech. And he drove the nurses crazy. And mind you, he drove Ron crazy too. And after finishing that talking to Anne, he went into the common room to talk to Robert and Brad. And Brad said, I hear that Anne could be let go. Why don't you fucking let me out too? And Ron said back to him, well, I will see what I can do, but I need to see more positive results, that your medication is working for you. And Robert said to Ron, how about my release? You see, I have been waiting here too long. I've been in here too long too. I am 14. I want to get out. And besides which, Pete is another pedo who wants to sex me up. And Ron said, well, I will see what I can do, but I might just do what I did for Jamie and bring you to the IVU. But at the moment, I ain't sure if there's a bed available, but I will do my best. And Robert said, well, sometimes your best isn't bloody good enough. You see, I am stuck here, and if I had a gun, I will aim fire at this entire psych ward, and I will kill you first, Ron. And Robert meant that from the bottom of his heart. And after he left there, he went into Peter's room and said, how are you? Okay, well, that's part 1 of this series, and we'll be back for part 2 after a few more seconds.